What if the philosophy that teaches you to control your emotions could actually make you emotionally numb? What if being strong all the time is slowly destroying the person you used to be? Stoicism is everywhere today. Control your emotions. Ignore what you can't control. Stay calm. Never complain. Become mentally tough. It sounds powerful. And sometimes, it is. But there's a side of Stoicism that almost nobody talks about. Because if you misunderstand Stoicism, you can turn emotional strength into emotional suppression. You can stop reacting to pain. And accidentally stop feeling life itself. And that's where Stoicism becomes dangerous. So today, we're going to talk about the dark side of Stoicism and how to use this ancient philosophy without becoming cold, detached, or emotionally numb. 1. Stoicism was never about having no emotions. Imagine someone hurts you. They betray you. Your first instinct is anger. You want to confront them. You want them to understand how badly they hurt you. But then you remember, I'm a Stoic. I shouldn't care. So you swallow the anger. You say nothing. You pretend you're fine. And eventually, you convince yourself that you don't feel anything. But here's the problem. That's not Stoicism. That's suppression. The ancient Stoics didn't teach people to become robots. They taught people to examine their reactions. There's a massive difference. Feeling anger isn't weakness. Allowing anger to control your actions is the problem. Feeling sadness isn't weakness. Allowing sadness to destroy your life is the problem. Stoicism doesn't say, don't feel. It says, don't become a slave to what you feel. That's a completely different philosophy. 2. I don't care can become an excuse. One of the most dangerous misunderstandings of Stoicism is the phrase, I don't care. Someone rejects you. I don't care. Someone disrespects you. I don't care. You lose something important. I don't care. Someone walks out of your life. I don't care. At first, this sounds like confidence. But ask yourself something. Do you really not care? Or have you simply become afraid to care? Because caring makes you vulnerable. And vulnerability can hurt. So sometimes, I don't care isn't strength. It's armor. You build emotional walls because you don't want anyone to hurt you again. But here's the price. The same walls that keep pain out also keep connection out. You can't selectively block emotions. You can't say, I want to stop feeling heartbreak, but I still want to feel deep love. I want to stop feeling disappointment, but I still want excitement. I want to stop feeling fear, but I still want courage. Life doesn't work that way. If you numb everything, you numb everything. 3. Stoicism can turn into emotional isolation. There's another trap. You start believing that you should handle everything alone. You don't need help. You don't need reassurance. You don't need anyone. You tell yourself, I can handle it. And maybe you can. But being able to handle something alone doesn't mean you should have to. Marcus Aurelius was one of the most powerful men in the ancient world. Yet Stoicism wasn't about separating yourself from humanity. Quite the opposite. Stoicism emphasized our connection with other human beings. You were not designed to live like an island. Sometimes strength means walking alone. But sometimes strength means saying, I need someone right now. That's not weakness. That's self-awareness. 4. Acceptance can become passivity. Now here's where things get really interesting. Stoicism teaches acceptance. Accept what you cannot control. Powerful idea. But there's a dangerous way to interpret it. You lose your job. It's fate. You get betrayed. Nothing I can do. Someone treats you badly. I must accept it. You become unhappy. That's just life. No. That's not Stoicism. Acceptance doesn't mean surrendering your responsibility. Think about it this way. Accept reality. Then act. You can't control the weather. But you can carry an umbrella. You can't control whether someone respects you. But you can control whether you continue allowing them access to your life. You can't control the past. But you can control what you do next. Acceptance should be the beginning of action, not the end of it. 5. Constant self-control can become exhausting. There's another dark side nobody talks about. The pressure to always be strong. You wake up tired. But you tell yourself, be disciplined. You're hurting. Stay strong. You're overwhelmed. Control yourself. You fail. Don't complain. Eventually, you start treating yourself like an enemy. Every emotion becomes something you need to defeat. Every mistake becomes evidence that you're weak. Every bad day becomes a failure of discipline. But you're human. You are going to have bad days. You're going to lose your patience. You're going to feel jealous. You're going to cry. You're going to become afraid. The goal isn't to eliminate those moments. The goal is to understand them. Because sometimes the most stoic thing you can do is admit that today was difficult. And then get back up tomorrow. 6. Without compassion becomes coldness. Imagine two people. Person A is extremely disciplined. Nothing affects him. Someone is crying in front of him. He says, control your emotions. Person B is also disciplined. But when someone cries, he listens. He doesn't immediately try to fix them. He doesn't judge them. He simply stays. Who is stronger? Many people confuse emotional distance with emotional strength. But real strength doesn't require you to become cold. You can have boundaries. Without hatred. You can forgive. Without allowing someone to hurt you again. You can walk away. Without wishing destruction upon the person you leave behind. That's emotional maturity. Not emotional numbness. 7. The real Stoic question. So if Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions, what is it actually about? Here's the question you should ask yourself whenever something painful happens. What part of this is within my control? Not, how do I stop feeling this? But, what can I do with what I'm feeling? If you're angry, what is the anger telling you? If you're afraid, what are you protecting? If you're disappointed, what expectation was broken? If you're sad, what mattered enough to make you hurt? Your emotions contain information. You don't have to obey them. But you shouldn't automatically silence them either. Listen. Understand. Then choose. That's where Stoic strength begins. 8. The dark side has a lesson. The dark side of Stoicism isn't Stoicism itself. It's what happens when we turn a philosophy of wisdom into a performance of toughness. When be strong becomes never cry. When control yourself becomes never express yourself. When accept reality becomes never fight for change. When don't depend on others becomes never let anyone close. That's not freedom. That's another form of imprisonment. You don't become stronger by feeling less. You become stronger by becoming harder to control. Your anger doesn't control you. Your fear doesn't control you. Your sadness doesn't control you. Your ego doesn't control you. Other people's opinions don't control you. That's the real goal. Not becoming emotionless. Becoming free. Powerful ending. So the next time life hurts you, don't immediately tell yourself, I shouldn't feel this. Instead, pause. Feel it. Understand it. Then ask, what is mine to control? Maybe you can't control what happened. But you can control what happens next. Maybe you can't control who betrayed you. But you can control who gets access to you again. Maybe you can't control the past. But you can decide what kind of person carries that past into the future. And maybe you don't need to become colder. Maybe you simply need to become wiser. Because the strongest person in the room isn't always the one who feels nothing. Sometimes it's the person who feels everything and still chooses his actions carefully. That's Stoicism. Not the absence of emotion. The mastery of response. If this changed the way you see Stoicism, subscribe to Daily Drive. And remember, you don't control everything that happens to you, but you always have a choice in what you become afterward. ***. See you in the next one.